Good evening, guys. Thanks for joining in and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, in this session, we're going to focus on how to build APIs, that is RESTful APIs using Python and Django framework. So, in my previous video, I have explained how to set up the Django in your systems. Okay. Now, in this session, especially, we're going to focus on how to create and build the APIs using a Django Rest framework. Okay. So, let us start. So, I have created a simple folder. Okay. So after that, let me open my terminal over here, the basic terminal. I have already installed the Python. So let's see the version that I am working. So currently the Python version is 3.11.4 and I also installed the Django framework. So Django -admin double hyphen and version. So they both are installed. Okay. So right, so let's clear the screen. Okay, now it's time to create the project in Django. So in Django, we can create a project using Django-admin start project command. Okay, so Django-admin and we have to say start project and the project name. So currently the project name is Django Rest. Okay, so the project is been created. Okay, so with the name Django Rest. After creating the project, we have to enter into the project. So please cd space Django and Rest. Okay, so let's see the list of files. Currently, we have only the manage.py folder and the Django Rest folder. Okay, so now it's time to create an application. Okay, see guys, in Django, a project is an entire application, and inside that, every application we create is a module inside it. For example, e-commerce is a project. Okay, in the e-commerce we have different categories, right? Electronics, clothing, and everything. So everything is a module. Likewise, in Django, a project is nothing but an entire application, and the apps we created are the modules of it. So let's create an app. Django-admin start app and the app name is API. So let's see the list of files. Currently we have an API directory and a Django REST directory and a simple file called manage.py file. So let's open our project in the VS Code, code and dot. So yeah, so these are the files that has been created. So let's run our server and let's see. So in order to run the server in Django, we have to say Python manage.py run server. So currently, just ignore the warning over here. It is a migration warning. Okay, it is not much of an issue. Okay, so currently our project is running on the local development server and the port number is 8000. So let's open it. Okay, so this is a Django default template. Whenever you're trying to create a new project, the default template will run like this. Okay, so this means Django is successfully installed and up and running. Now let's make some changes inside it. So let's go to a project and here we have an API application Django REST. Okay, so here API is an application app and Django REST is a project name. Okay, so guys, you have to remember that whenever you create a project in Django and after creating an application, you have to include the application name in the project directory. So go to the settings and inside the settings and inside the installed apps, you have to include the app that you have installed, that is API. Okay, now save it. After that, go to your application and here you have to create a new file called urls.py file. So by default, there is no such file in the application. Whenever you create it, it is only in the project directory. Okay, but for our convenience, we are creating this urls file especially for this application. Okay, so in the project directory there is a urls file. Just copy that code and paste inside the app urls. We don't need admin over here and just remove this one. That's it. Now this url patterns, whatever paths we have created for the application, it will be in this file. Now we need to connect this urls file to the project urls file. Come to over here, remove this commented code, we don't need that. And you have to import the functionality called include, which is going to include your application urls that you have created. Okay, so simply have to say path and here I'm going to create my path should start with API slash. like this. Okay, and you have to say include, and the application name is API dot, the file name is URLs. So that is how you can include your application URLs in the project URLs. Okay, after that, close this file, you don't need this, and close the settings file. Okay, now go to your application in the views file. So let's simply create a basic functionality. Okay, so here I'm going to write simple home function request, and in the return it is going to simply return HTTP response. So from Django, let me zoom it. Okay, I think it is visible. So from Django dot HTTP, I'm going to import HTTP. Now I will return. So let me see. Okay, return HTTP response. The response is very simple, like hello developer. Okay, that's enough. Save this function, and I want to run this function at the like a home page. Okay, whenever I launch my application, that is a Django project, and up and running the server, the first home URL should be executing this function, and the message should be run like hello developer. Okay, the home page. So go to the URL, and now we have to map a URL for this function. Okay, so in the URL, I'm going to use the empty path. Empty path means the first page, or you can see the landing page. Okay, and here we need to import our views. So from the application name is API, right? Currently we are in the same directory, so I'm not mentioning the app name. Simply I will say dot. Dot represents the same current directory. Okay, so from dot views I am going to import. So the functionality name is home. Okay, and you have to mention the function name and the name also over here. Okay, I think that will do. So save it and go to this browser and refresh it. Currently it is saying page not found, the empty part didn't match any of this. Okay, so let us see what is the error we're getting over here. Okay, so we're getting this kind of error because page not found. In the project URLs, we have mentioned that our application URLs should start with API slash, right? So here we have to say slash API slash. So not get product, it should be slash API. Okay, so hello developer. Okay, that is the response we are getting from the function. Okay, right. So that's completed. Let me close this one. Okay, we have created a simple function that is returning HTTP response, that is hello developer. Okay, now we have to build the APIs. Okay, we have created a Django project and application and a simple function, set up the URLs and everything. Now it is time to build the APIs. Okay, so in Python especially we use Django Rest Framework to build the RESTful APIs. So the Rest Framework is entirely built on Django. Okay, so this is a REST framework. Okay, so Django REST framework is a powerful and flexible toolkit for building web application APIs. Okay, so in order to set up Django REST framework in your project, there are certain steps you need to follow. The first thing is starts with the installation. So the installation is very simple. You have to say pip install Django REST framework. So I have already installed that globally in my system. So you can install it directly by using this command insert the terminal. Okay. So after that, what you're going to do is you have to include this REST framework in the install labs. So let's copy this one and go to your project, and in settings install labs. Let's say come over here and add the REST framework. Okay, so that is how you can include the REST framework in your project. First thing you need to do, pip install Django REST framework. After that you have to include the REST framework. Okay, that is good. Now let's build a simple function. Okay, so I have included the REST framework in my project, right? So now it is time to create a model. Okay, so let's create a model. Go to your application and inside the models, right, we need to create a model. What is meant by model? Model is nothing but it refers or maps to a single table in database. Okay. Earlier frameworks we used to manually create the SQL tables, right? Here, especially in Django, we don't have to create the tables by writing the raw SQL queries. Django will take care of it. Simply we need to mention so the table name, that is a model name, and the fields that you're going to use inside the table. So we call it as a model. So it is a class based. Okay. Currently, I'm creating a simple model called person, and we have to say models dot model. Okay, right. Now here we need to mention the fields that we are going to see inside the table. Okay, so here I'm going to have a name, and every field will have their own type of data. That is data type, right? So here I'm going to use the character field, and I have to mention the length, the maximum length, that is 150 characters. Name, and followed by age. Here I'm going to mention models dot. I'm going to use an integer field. Name, age, followed by the city, models dot character field. Okay, max length equal to 200. Name, age, city, or you can add n number of fields also. Okay, so currently I'm adding email also. Email equal to models dot email field. Okay, so after adding your required number of fields, you have to use a simple function, and you have to define a simple method inside this class, and this method is going to convert your complex data into readable format, string readable format. Okay, this str. Okay, is it necessary? Without this we are not going to create a model. Yes, we can create a model, but if you want to see, if you go to the admin panel and you're going to see the models that you have created, it will be in object format. You're not going to read it. Okay, it is very hard to read the data like that. So in order to make your data readable for the Django admin, we have to convert into a string type instead of object. Okay, so that's why you have to convert that over here, and I'm mentioning by name. That's enough. Okay. So after creating a model, you have to migrate your model to the database. Okay. The default one is SQLite 3. Okay. So you have to apply migrations. After that, you have to migrate it. Okay. So let's go to your terminal and kill the server by using Control C. In order to apply the migrations, you have to say python manage.py make migrations, and it is saying create model person. Okay, and whenever you're saying make migrations, that is means a model is ready to be created as a table in database. Okay, simply we have to say migrate. By applying this command, okay, not only your model is going to create as a table in database. By default, Django is providing the basic tables for every project, that is user authentication, the groups, the permissions. These tables also will be created simultaneously. Okay, right. So now our model is created. Okay, that is good and fine. Now I want to see the model that you created, and I want to add some data inside it. Okay, so for this purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create SuperUser. SuperUser. Why I'm going to create a SuperUser? SuperUser command is nothing but create SuperUser. So in order to access the admin panel, you have to be a SuperUser. Okay, so that's why we need to create a SuperUser. The command is very simple. I have to say python manage.py create SuperUser. My SuperUser name is admin, and email address admin123.com. That's enough. Okay, the password is 12345. 12345. Yes, as I'm creating this project locally, so strong password is not necessary. Okay, after creating the super user, so let's check with the credentials that we have created, and let's run the server. And you have to say, in order to access the admin panel, we have to say /admin. We have visited the admin panel. Username is admin and password is 12345. Okay, but only the groups and users table are seen. We are unable to see the table that we have created. That table means the model that we have created, that is person. There is no person table over here. So if you want to see your model as a table in Django admin, then you have to register your model in the admin panel. For that, you have to go to the admin.py file and register the model over here. So in order to perform the registration, first of all, import your model over here. So from dot models, I need to import the model that have created person. Okay, and the command is admin dot site dot register and person. Save it, go to the browser, refresh it. Now I'm able to see the model that I have created. Okay, click on that one and see. So earlier I have said that inside the models, without this method, our models will be seen as an object format. If I remove this, save it, refresh it, create any person. I'm creating my name. Okay, age something 25. Okay, now the data is being displayed as object. Okay, so if there are large amount of data, there are number of objects. So it is very difficult to read the data in this format, right? So let me add another person, like I want to add Kiran, some 55 44 Hyderabad. Okay, and email is some Kiran123, like this, and save it. Okay, so now it is difficult to read the data in this object format. That's why I have mentioned to use this string format. Okay, so this method will convert the data by object into the string format. Okay, so let's refresh this. Now we are able to read the data. Currently we have two persons, right? Okay, so currently we have two persons data. Okay, that is Irfan and Kiran, right? So now the model is created, and we have, after that, after creating the model, we are successfully able to migrate our model to the database. Okay, now it's time to create the APIs. Without touching the admin panel, I need to create the person's data, that is by using the APIs. Okay, so let's do that. So for this purpose, go to the views, and inside the views I have to, before let me close this one, close. Okay, so first of all, we need to create a new file called serializers.py. Okay, now whenever you're handling data inside the RESTful data in Django, so the first thing you have to do is you have to create a serializers file. Okay, so why serializer is important? Okay, so serialization is nothing but it is going to convert the complex data of models into readable JSON format. Okay, so that's why you need to perform the serialization. Okay, right, the second, right, so let's perform the serialization. Okay, so in order to perform the serialization, we have to import some functionalities from REST framework. So from REST framework dot serializers, import model serializer. This model serializer helps us to convert the complex data of the model into readable JSON format. Okay, right. So after that, import your model here over here. From dot models, import what is the model that we have created? That is person, right? So let's create a serializer class. So that would be person serializer, and in the parentheses we need to mention the model serializer. Okay. After that, we need to add the meta information, meta, and the model is a person, and I'm going to use all of it. So fields equal to double underscore r double underscore. That means we are going to use all the fields mentioned in the model. Okay, right. Our serializer data is now ready. Now it's time to display this data by creating a API, different API methods. Okay, so we have different HTTP methods, guys, for the RESTful to handle the RESTful API. We have a create, we have a post, get, put, and delete. Okay, so get is used to get all the data from the database, and post is used to create the data, put is going to update the already existing data, and delete is going to delete the data. So these four HTTP methods we are going to utilize. So in the views, simply create a new function. Okay, so let's create a new function called create. Okay, and it is going to accept the request data. Currently I'm saying pass. Similarly, I'm going to create the remaining functions. The second one is def update request, and there is a third one that is delete, that is going to delete the data. Okay, now there is another functionality which is going to get the required data only. Suppose there are 10 persons. I don't need the 10 persons data. I need only particular person's data. That is ID number 5 person data. So in order to get the specific data, we have to say def get required, like this. Okay. Okay. And I would like to convert this home function into persons. So persons list. Okay. Right. So we have a create, we have a required, update, and delete methods. Okay. So we need to import the required functionalities here. The first thing we need to import is the serializer class that we have created. Okay. From dot serializers, import model serializer and import your model over here. Dot models, import the model that you have created, that is a person, and there are some functionalities that we can make use of from REST framework, that is from dot rest from REST framework dot decorators. I'm going to use API view. Okay. After that, from REST framework, we are going to use response, the response. Okay. And from REST framework, I'm going to import status. Okay, so these functionalities I'm going to use from REST framework, that is API view to view the data in API format, the response to generate the response of the data, and the status. This status is especially for display different HTTP methods, that is a 201, 202, 404, 400, like that. Okay, HTTP codes. Now first of all, let's see all the data. Okay, for example, I have created 5 members data, 5 persons data. So I want to view all the data. Currently, we have only 2 persons data, right? I want to see this data over here. Okay, so for this purpose, let me say persons equal to, here I'm going to perform the query sets. Django follows the Django ORM, that is object relational mapper. Okay, so in order to like get some data from the database in Django, we need to write the query sets instead of writing the raw queries. Okay, so here the model is person dot objects dot all. Okay, right, we are able to successfully fetch all the required data. By doing this query set, by performing these query sets, we are going to get all the data. It is exactly like a SQL query we used to write, right? For example, we used to write select a star from persons. It is very similar to this one. Okay. Here we are not writing any kind of raw SQL queries. Django will take care of it. Simply we need to perform the query sets. Okay. Right. So after that, we need to create a serializer is equal to, so the serializer that we have created, that is person serializer. Just give me a sec. Where is that? Model seal not from dot. So we need to create person serializer. We need to import. Okay. So we need to mention person serializer and pass in the person's data that we are able to fetch, and we are going to say many equal to true because there are more than one person's data. Okay. So instead of HTTP response, we need to generate the response from the REST framework, and we need to say serializer dot data and status. I don't need to write any status currently. That's it. And here we have an API view to display the data in API format, and it's a decorator, that's why I'm using the @ symbol. And in the parentheses, we need to mention the HTTP method that we are seeing. Now we are getting the data, that's why it is a get. Okay. Now our function is completed. It's time to link a URL to this function. Okay. So go to the URLs, and here instead of, so here we need to write the persons list. Simply mention persons list, function name, and the name over here. That's it. Okay. Go to the browser, and here refresh it. Now you're able to see the data in the API format. Okay. So in the backend, we have created two persons data, right? Kiran and Ifan. So that is the data we're able to see in the API format by using the REST framework. Okay. Now that is good. So we are able to get all the data that is being created at the backend and the front end using the REST framework. Okay. Now it's time to create some data. In general, we are creating the data by using the Django admin panel by clicking on add person like this. But this time I'm not using this admin panel. I'm using the REST framework to create the data. Okay. So let's try to create the data. Go to the views, close your serializers. We don't need that. And here, okay. Now we need to say serializer equal to person serializer. Data is equal to request dot data. Okay. So here we already have a person serializer, right? So we are performing the request on it. Okay. So after that, symbol. Okay. So we need to validate the data that is we are creating. Okay. If serializer dot is underscore valid, then only we need to create the data, right? So serializer dot save, and we need to return a response that is serializer dot data. Okay. And we can also give a status, that is status 4, that is 201, it is created. Okay, it will display the status, that is it is created. Okay. So if the data is not valid, then what? So then it is going to return some error, right? So we need to say return response and serializer dot, so it should be an errors. Okay. And here we need to mention a status, so status equal to status dot status dot, and it should be 404, I think 400 bad request. Okay, that's it. Okay. Now here we need to add the decorator that we have added over here, but this time instead of get, we have to say post because we are posting the data to the server, to the database. Okay. So save it, go to the URLs, and create a specific URL for creating the data. Copy this path, import your function, that is create, and apply this function name over here and here. And this time the path should be create. Okay. save it and go to the browser, refresh, and we have to say API slash create. Okay, now we are into the creating. Okay, currently at the backend, so we have only two persons data. Now when I like provide the details over here and hit the post, then another person will be created. So if I empty post the data, it is saying these fields are required in order to create the data. Okay, it is in JSON format, right? So let's copy that. Let's try to include that, and yeah, make the required changes. Okay, and simply whenever it is saying required, we need to update the data over there. We don't need this square brackets, just remove it. Okay, and here and here, and we need to add the required data. Okay, right. So we have a city, age, email, and name. Okay, so name would be like let's add some Priya, and it should be something 36, and city should be like Delhi, and email would be priya99 at gmail.com. Okay, right. So I think that is enough. So let's click on post. So it is saying http 201 created, that means data is being created. Okay, so let's click on persons list. So a new person has been created. Okay, right. And at the back end, if you hit refresh, Priya's data has been created. Click on Priya. So right. Okay, so that's how we can create the required data. Okay, now after creating the data, now it's time to update. Okay, so let's update the data. Finally, I will go to the get required, that is okay. At the end, I will look at the get required data. So first of all, let's update the data. Okay, let me copy this function and replace the function over here, change the function name, that is update. See, whenever you are updating the data, the HTTP method should be, say, put. Okay, when you're creating, it should be post, and we are getting, it should be get. So you have to remember the HTTP methods, the basic ones. Okay, see, here, whenever you're updating the data, you're requesting, right? I need to update the particular person's data. So the server should understand that which person's data you're going to update, because there are more than one person in the database, right? So you have to mention the ID name, which makes it unique in the database. Okay, suppose there are 10 members in the database, you have to say, okay, ID number 9, I need to update, ID number 8, we need to update, like that. Along with the request, you have to send the ID also. Okay, so here we need to say ID. Okay, right. So here we need to say person is equal to person dot objects dot get ID equal to ID. Okay, this is how we can filter the data, the required data, the get. Okay, so after that we need to say person comma data equal to request dot data. If it is valid, the remaining thing is same. Okay, right. Then response, no, it is not created, it is updated. We don't need the 201 created. Okay, so if there is no data, then if the person that you are required that is not present in the database, the status code would be 404 not found. Wait a second, it should be status dot yeah, it is, where is that? Yes, 404 not found. Okay, right. Now after creating the update function, simply you have to link a specific URL over here. Copy this path and paste and change the, so instead of mentioning every function, simply I will say star, because I remember those functions. Update, copy this and paste. Here you're not only requesting the update function, you are requesting the function along with the ID, so you have to mention it slash int ID. You're sending the ID also along with the request of function. Okay, right. Now go to the browser and hit refresh. Currently we have three IDs, three persons. Okay, now I want to change the city of Kiran from Hyderabad to Mumbai. Okay, the Kiran ID is 2. Okay, so let me say update slash 2. The current path API server will match any of these. Why? To say update, and inside the views, okay, maybe you are getting an error, so let's see. Requesting the ID, the update function. Okay, person is equal to person dot object dot get, and person serializer, that is person data equal request dot data. If it is valid, we need to save it, return response. Okay, serializer dot errors. Okay, then let's save it. And here also we need to save, create an update slash. Okay, why it is not updating? Okay, create is working. Need to say update slash 1, but it is not taking. Why? The current path API slash. Okay. Update slash update. Okay, name. So inside the views, okay, I think we have created it. Okay, and inside the URLs, so we have linked it. Okay, let me call them individually. Person list, create, update. Okay, and inside the views, so it is update. It is update, right? And API view, it is put update request comma ID, person is equal to object dot get ID. The URL is also fine, right? So now the update function is working. So the mistakes that I have done is nothing bad. Here, see, you have to be careful when you're writing the function name. So the function name should not start with the uppercase. Okay, so that is a mistake I have done. So don't try to repeat that one. So currently the update is also working. So now I need to update the current city. It is Hyderabad. I need to shift him to Mumbai. So simply I will say update slash 2. Okay, now if I click on put, so again it is asking me the fill in the required details. Okay, right, so let's copy those and we need to fill the required details. Okay, and it should be quick enough. Let's remove that, let's remove that, let's remove that, and let's remove that. Okay, so the fields that you're not going to update, just place empty over there. Okay, okay, now I want to update only the city. Okay, so for the city I should say Mumbai. Okay, the remaining things I'm not going to update, only the city is going to update. So put I. Okay, let's load the persons list. Let's copy the data from there. Let's copy that and let's hit the update again. Let's put in over here. I don't need the ID over here. I'm simply changing the Mumbai. That's it. Good. Okay. HTTP 200. Okay. That means data has been updated, guys. Okay. If you go to the persons list, okay, the Mumbai current city has been updated from Hyderabad to Mumbai. Okay. So that is how you can perform the update operation. Okay. Right. So the final thing is we need to perform the delete operation also. Okay. So delete is very simple. Simply let's copy this one and paste over here. Have to say delete. In delete, you don't have to serialize the data. Directly, you can delete the object itself. Okay. So we can delete the data like this. Person dot delete like this. Okay. Cool. And we can return a simple response. That's going to say status to status dot 204 no content. That's it. And the HTTP method should be delete. That's it, guys. Okay, you're getting the person's required person's data by using the get ID. After getting the particular person, you're going to delete the data. Okay, link a URL to this function. Simply say path, and we need to say delete. For deleting operation, also you have to pass in the request along with the ID. Then only it will work. Okay, see, save it. Now refresh. Go to the persons list. Refresh. Okay, currently we have three persons. Now I want to delete the Priya record. Okay, so at the back end also we have three persons. I want to delete Priya record. Okay, so here I have to say 8/3. Okay, here it is asking make a delete request on the delete source. So delete. It is asking are you sure want to delete this? Yes, delete it. Okay, so that's deleted. Go to the persons list. See, Priya record has been deleted. Go to the backend, refresh. So Priya record has been deleted. We can perform the same delete operation over here by clicking on delete. It will be deleted. We'll ask the same thing over here. But we have performed this operation by using the Django Rest Framework. Okay, right, cool. So we have left one specific view function of that is get required. You can try that on your own. Simply it is going to get the required data that is going to display. Okay, so here you're only performing the get request to see all the person's data. If you want to see the specific person's data especially, you have to pass in the ID also. Okay, so that you can do that. Okay, right. So that is how you can perform the REST framework. That is how you can build the APIs using Django and Django REST framework. Okay, so if you like the content, please hit like and comment the next topic that you want and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.